few months ago I created a secondary account and started contacting Venomfangx, asking him questions, things like that, pretending that I didn't hate him. And I just wanted to find out a few things about him, and I kept a diary on what was going on. After a little while, he just sort of stopped responding to me. I don't know if he was busy or if he worked it out or what, but eventually I decided to scrap the project. But given the recent events, I've decided to make a video with a few extracts from the diaries, just certain things that I think are relevant, and so yeah, it should be, I find it interesting. So here it is. I created a new account with a name I won't mention here so as to keep the identity secret. I immediately messaged him, offering him praise and telling him I was new to the religion and needed some help. Frustrated at the fact that the voices of science and reason were being utterly ignored and proven falsehoods were being perpetuated, I felt a yearning to understand him, to find out if he is a blatant liar or if he truly believes his rationalizations. If he knew anything or was simply regurgitating other people's work, Kent Hovind for example. I wanted to know the depths of his understanding of the Bible and of other religions, and most importantly, I wanted to know how he would go about influencing his followers. Most of us don't get to see his personal side, and I had the suspicion that it was even more venomous than his public appearances. It was time that someone uncovered the true nature and brought the danger to the attention of the public. Sunday the 15th of February. I received my first response from VFX. I believe it was a pre-written posting. I wonder if he even read my message. This is all it said. Watch the first video called The Age of the Earth, with a link to freehovind.com. This is a video that most people here will have seen at least in part by now. It's just one of Kent Hovind's seminars. He's trying to gain support for the criminal Kent Hovind. The mission of this website, freehovind.com, is exactly what you think it is. These people have utterly rationalized Hovind's actions and believe him to be innocent. He is trying to gain support for the criminal Kent Hovind. The mission of this website, freehovind.com, is exactly what you think it is. These people have utterly rationalized Hovind's actions and believe him to be innocent. And even if he was guilty, they believe the punishment to exceed legal limits for the 50 criminal counts he was charged on, which were listed in the petition as follows. The alleged offences of Kent Hovind for which pardon is sought are as follows. Number 1. Willful failure to collect or pay tax, 12 counts. Number 2. Structuring transactions to evade reporting requirements, 45 counts. Number 3. Attempting to interfere with administration of internal revenue laws, 1 count. Based on these charges, Mr. Hovind was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 3 years on probation and $600,000 in fines. Although the mention of these alleged crimes may trigger thoughts of guilt, and though judgment has already been pronounced, we firmly believe with absolute certainty that Hovind is completely innocent of the charged offences. We think these sentences are extremely harsh and unjust, especially when considering the nature of the alleged offences and the proofs of his innocence heretofore shown. If you visit the site and read the whole petition, you'll see there wasn't a single proof of innocence in the entire document. What they're referring to is an appeal to his character, citing his theistic tertiary education that he had previously falsely presented as legitimate high school science degrees. To the date of this entry, however, Hovind has spent 758 days in prison, and 6,387 signatures are on the petition. Of course, it wouldn't matter if there was 1 million. The courts won't release a criminal because his fans won't want them to. Tuesday the 17th of February. I asked him about Hovind. I didn't say anything about him other than why is he in jail. He wrote this. The Bible teaches us we are all sinners. Regardless of Kent Hovind's current legal problems, we are all sinners and should not be surprised by his shortcomings of others. Kent Hovind preached the gospel message of God and is a saint, regardless of his shortcomings. Such is the case of all Christians who preach the word of God. Just let me repeat that. Kent Hovind preached the gospel message of God and is a saint regardless of his shortcomings. Such is the case of all Christians who preach the word of God. This really is amazing in the light of the video An Atheist Stands Trial, in which he portrays an atheist that doesn't believe in judges, despite the judge standing in front of him and charging him with crimes. There is also a lawyer that was willing to offer his services for free and pay the fine, except the atheist didn't believe in him either. This portrays the message of Christianity we have all known, but to a sinister new level. Those that commit to God and are immune to the laws of man, because they always have their lawyer Jesus there to stand up for them for free. Unfortunately for Hovind, the lawyer Jesus was conspicuously absent from his trial. The most amazing thing about this video to me is that the crimes the young man committed were going to go completely unpunished if he just accepted the help of the stranger. The crimes included a hit and run, a bank robbery, and punching a monkey in the face. I think he fancies himself a bit of a comedian. But this guy was just going to walk. He was going to be excused for the crimes if he just accepted the help of the lawyer. And this is what he wants for Hovind. I can guarantee you no atheist would ever condone the criminal activities of its proponents, much less petition to have them excused for their crimes. I also asked a question about free will in heaven. His answer was weak but not horrible. Simply stated, it was that you still have free will in heaven, except you only get in if you have previously submitted to his will. In effect, heaven is your choice, and once you get there, it's not that you can't change it, it's just that God only picks people that aren't going to change it. It's similar how Snakeboy's videos are not attracting just positive feedback, it's just that he only lets the positive ones in. You have the free choice to make a negative response, it just won't get past the gate. It would be a hell of a lot more tolerable if the alternative wasn't damnation and hellfire. Wednesday the 18th of February. He linked me to a video to which he claimed he used to be a Jew and for a long time an atheist. I'll bet he was the same smarmy little uneducated cunt back then that he is now. Well, there was a stock selection of fallacious propaganda about evidence for design, along with the same weak connections for the coming of Christ and all the prophecies of the Old Testament. But the interesting thing was in the info section. It would seem that VFX, despite his being forced to read an apology online that stated he was legally in breach of many different things, among them false filing of DMCAs, still believes that it is his opposition that is in breach of copyright law. He mentions a convention of the law called the Berne Copyright Convention. It states that intellectual rights are recognized internationally and that it is automatic and in fact prohibited to require formal registration. So, yes, he is covered by copyright law. Unfortunately, he doesn't know anything about the law that covers him and doesn't realize that there are big sections on non-infringing reproduction. Now, so far, I've only read the Australian document, but it covers news, satire, and critical evaluation as non-infringing reproduction. It would appear that everything that he's tried to censor with the DMCAs would have been covered by this. So not only is he wrong, he's admitted he's wrong, and now still claims to be right. He'll make a great senator one day. My next question is about the Old Testament. I want to know how he justifies the brutality of the Hebrew Empire and the merciless rule of Emperor Moses. We'll just have to wait and see. He responded on February 18th with this. The reason Israel went to war, why Israelites were to kill the disobedient, adulterers, homosexuals, etc., and the reason they kept women alive can all be easily explained. Number 1. Israel went to war to destroy rival nations that would threaten their existence. Israel had a mission to save the world by delivering the Messiah from their population. Any nation that was a threat to Israel was therefore destroyed.